A video seminar is an academic instruction either by academic institution or offered by an professional organization which involves in making a video of a particular topic and publishing them. For us, yes, video seminar is an major and a very important part of our course in which we are supposed to explain about open source tool and also explain its download, working and implementation, and these are shown in the below video. Watch the video, enjoy it. Let's move on with the video.
Hello everybody, myself Vignesh from 8th semester CSC MSRIT. Well, I have uploaded a video today in which I shall discuss about the Calabash tool. Calabash is a test automation framework that enables mobile developers and pretty much anyone without coding skills to create and execute automated acceptance tests for Android and iOS apps. It works by enabling automatic user interface interactions within an application, such as pressing buttons, inputting text, validating responses, etc. Calabash tests are very easy to be conducted and can be configured to run on hundreds of different iOS and Android devices, providing real-time feedback and validations across many different form factors, OS versions, and hardware specifications. It is considered as a behavior-driven development test automation framework. Conceptually, it is similar to test-driven development, but it takes one step further in that instead of creating tests that describes the shape of application programming interfaces, application behaviors are specified. The major benefit of BDD, that is behavior driven development, is that it helps to ensure that the right software is built. The intent is that the software is designed from the perspective of business owner. The general workflow for testing a mobile application follows the major steps in Calabash. First, we have to write the feature where the developer and subject matter expert works together to write the Calabash feature. Next, have to run the feature where the developer will run the feature that was created earlier. Thirdly, create step definitions. Here, the Cucumber software will provide several code snippets, and using them, we create a Ruby source code file and paste the snippet output onto it. Fourth, we have to explore the application using Calabash console. It's not strictly very much necessary, but this step involves starting up an instance of the Calabash console. We can use this to discover the Calabash queries necessary to interact with the user interface object in the application. Next, we have to update the step definitions. Here, after discovering the Calabash queries for locating and manipulating the user interface object, we can use these along with the Calabash API to implement the step definitions. And next, we have to run the feature. When the step definitions are finished, we can run the features, and we have to implement the features in the application. Here we have to, the developer will shift the attention to the application and write the code to implement the desired functioning and make the test pass. And the final step would be the repeat. Here, once the feature is implemented with the passing test, it's nothing. The repeating is done. That's it.
Well, Calabash is a functional testing framework that can be used for both iOS and Android functional testing. It must be one of the most easiest frameworks to use, where even non-developers should be able to create functional tests using it. And yeah, there are some key challenges for mobile testing. Some of them are it must be downloadable. There must be diversity in mobile platforms, device availability, mobile network operators, scripting, choosing how to test, and compatibility. And also along with that, many devices screens, varying conditions, insufficient device coverage, regressions, etc. Okay, let's know what is an automated testing philosophy. In order to know that, you must know what is BDD. BDD is nothing but behavior driven development, which is perhaps the biggest source of confusion. That is, when applied to automated testing, it is a set of best practices for writing great tests. And yes, those specifications can be executed as automated acceptance tests. Well, there are. What is Calabash exactly? Well, as I just told you, it's an automated testing framework for Android and iOS devices, and there are some tools for Androids based on the behavior-driven development. So for Calabash Android, you have to get into github.com Calabash Android, and for iOS, it is github.com Calabash iOS, and it is open source, free, which is developed using Eclipse software, and it is written in Ruby mainly, and also in Java C. So here are some of the features of Calabash. It is a native and a hybrid app for both iOS and Android as specified in the definition, and it is again a behavior driven development by using a Cucumber tool, and cross platform testing can be conducted over here. That is, the apps can be executed on multiple platforms. Well, it runs on simulators as well as emulators, and there are several value added supports as well. As you can see, this is the overall architecture of a Calabash tool. On one side you have Calabash clients, and on the other side you have a Calabash server, and they both are interfaced via HTTP protocol. And on the client side you have Calabash Android application, Calabash iOS application, and Java virtual machine. And on the server side you have and the Calabash server takes either an Android application or an iOS or an JVM, or which has to be developed, and it will respond to your request as received. Other features of Calabash Android, it is instrumentation based, like instrumentation based test servers have been developed. It supports dynamic interactive test development, and it adds additional methods which may develop easy methods for automation, and it is a web based support on a shared JavaScript library. Well, let me tell about the future scope for Calabash. It unifies application programming interfaces across Android and iOS devices, and it improves hybrid support for several low level web drivers into high level web drivers like API. Um, they also support official Java clients, and also they can even unify and cross pollinate with other projects as well. These are some of the important information regarding Calabash for both Android and iOS devices. The rest of the demonstration part will be discussed in the video uploaded. Kindly watch the video. Thank you. Previously I had discussed about the definition of Calabash, and some of its features, and also some of the major steps required in accomplishing it. And further, I'll be discussing about how to download Calabash, and what are the procedures to be followed, and how to install it, and also how to implement and make it work on your Android device. And yes, here we go. Hi everybody. Today I'm going to show you how to create the Android automation test framework and then run a simple application and also do some quick checks. So this is a very quick video. This is for beginners who want to learn a Calabash Android automation. So the first and foremost point of reference is go to Calabash Android GitHub, uh, and yeah, it's ready to get our steps how to do the installation. um, okay. uh, yes. Okay, the installation part is pretty simple. uh, s- so you need to get your Ruby running on your system. So Ruby should already be installed on your machine. For Windows, you can download it from Ruby website and get registered. Or another way is that you can just type it in Google. Then in Mac it comes pre-installed, and on Linux, yes, you need to install it by yourself. The next thing you have to do is installing Calabash. In You have to run this command: sudo gem install Calabash Android. So once you run this command, you might need to put in your password. So this would install Calabash framework on your machine. So to verify that, you can go to your machine and run Calabash Android command. Okay. So yeah, we are sure that it's there. Next thing is you should do is up from a list of commands that should be done each time. So yeah, okay. And next thing you should do is just a minute. Yeah. Next thing you should do is get the Android SDK. For that you should use this link. So I already have it open, and this link. So click on download SDK. You'll get the proper version based on what framework on what operating system you're using. And in my case, it's Mac, and I'll download this. It will come along with the Eclipse and ADT bundle. ADT bundle is Android debug tool under developer tools. Sorry. So when you download and extract it, it goes to your I've already extracted into my Android folder. So I can see by going there, um, I can see my Eclipse and SDK. These two are the folders that come along with the bundle. So Eclipse, there's a pre-configured Eclipse which has a link to the Android tools. So if you click and launch as Eclipse, then you should see something like this with Android SDK Manager and Android Virtual Device Manager. And I've created two virtual devices. Creating virtual devices is pretty simple, and Android SDK Manager helps you to download and install what kind of API version of Android you want to use for your virtual devices. So, and Android 2.3 is Gingerbread, which is present in almost 60% of the devices that are in market today as of this date. That was one of the previous stats released by Google recently. And Android 4.2.2 is the latest version. So install both of these APIs so that I can start creating devices for them. I've created two devices. So AVD1 is under virtual device on Gingerbread, and ICS it should have been Jelly Bean basically Android 4.2. Don't worry about that. Next thing is that once we have Eclipse and we have Android virtual device, so we have tools necessary. We have simulated the actual, yeah, we have simulated the device stuffs. So other parties should have Calabash APK to be tested. You can test even with the source code itself. If you have the project, then you will have your APK file in the bin folder. So once you have your bin folder, you should provide the location of your bin folder for doing the other stuffs. So in my case, I want to make it simple for people who test only with APK file. So I would say copy the APK file on a particular folder. So I have it over here. This APK is a resigned APK of this project. So I would say to resign it, because if they was built on different machine with a different signature with a different key, then you would have problems. So rather make it a habit to get it to resign it each time you get an APK file. So that's a good habit to have. To resign, you should have download the resign jar from Android. um, Go download our the virtual jar. Yes, yes, going here to our link to download that. This is our link. Let's copy that. Okay. So we know well from where to download Android the recent jar. So to do the resigning, I should have my Android home and Java underscore home, and all these three variables basically set. So this should refer to your username and the path where the platform tools for Android SDK is present, and this should present to the SDK, that is Android SDK itself, the one we have downloaded, and we have it in we have it over here. Yes, this one. It should point to this folder, and java underscore home, it's basically this path on the Mac, and depends on your Windows as well. So you could search and you could find some help on that. So that should be safer. So after you set these three variables, go to the terminal, and go to the place where you have your resign jar format. For me, it's in my downloads folder, so I got to go to my downloads folder. Then I do java hyphen jar resign jar, and yes, launch that. Then go find my APK file, go to my Calabash sample project. Yes, this is my actual source code. When you have actual source code, your APK file will be present in the bin folder. So take this, drag and drop it here. Yeah, I'm up here. So once you have it here, you can say where to paste the resign jar. Yes, go here. If you click on that, it will be saved onto here. Already I have it, so I don't have to do it again. I'm canceling it. That is how to get the get your resign jar. So we are done with it. Okay, we are done with these steps. The app has been installing. Then we do the designing or resigning of the jar in these steps later, and then run a Calabash Android Gen command, which would create the features folder, and move to my so this is my features folder, as you can see, and these are the features that are created by default. When I run my Calabash Android Gen command in here, and if I go to my Ruby mine, I can see what was created. My first feature is the first feature out, basically more everything. And I said, when I see mojito recipe, that's the text shown on my application. So then I wait for 10 seconds. Okay, let's see how it works when it runs. Then yeah, for an ADB to for your machine to recognize your devices, you should verify that before you start your Calabash. So the command to do that is ADB devices. So I can see my emulator running. So this is basically the name, and 5554 is the port on my mission on which this is running. So let's take this and add ADB to the path. Yeah, and with your devices. So now we are all set, and then we should enable USB debugging in on the device that will be present on the developer tools by going over here. Uh, yeah, here set it here. Um, so yeah, after you do this, we are all set to run our first Calabash test. Um, and the command to do that is Calabash Android run, and the file or path of the APK. So just I want to take this and copy this command, and take the design and design APK file, drag it onto here, start which should have sorry, there's a space missing in here. Okay. And other thing is, Android testing needs instrumentation server. It's basically a server that's used to communicate with the Android tools, and that in turn communicates with the application, and that has to be built with each APK file you're testing. So it's not a generic thing. So this will be created by Calabash. So you need not worry much when you do this Calabash Android run command. Simply click on it. It will show that test servers found, because I just deleted it, and I will assign the test server, and we have our application APK assigned by the resign jar earlier. So we have that ready in place. Then these two APKs has to be placed, has to be pushed on a device. That's being done now. Can see that going in here, one of the APK files, another APK file will also be pushed. So you can see that is how my application started on my emulator. So it is I have only two steps. So one of them is not defined. Yes, I did this on purpose. So that is when I wait for 10 seconds. I haven't defined that. So because I just want to show to do that, this is a way, copy the definition which they have given. So that is like a template for us to start. And this is the file or step for which the step definition was not found. So I should go into my Calabash RB steps. Yeah, and yeah, it's the command. um, Remove the spending over here. So the command to wait in Calabash is sleep 10 seconds, or just take this argument and convert it to an integer. um, Good. Now run your test. It should launch the test application and wait for 10 seconds, and it should pass this time. Cool. It just didn't see the text, and now it's waiting for 10 seconds. And as you can see that last time it was very quick, and now it's just delayed by 10 seconds. So there is a very basic tutorial to show, get all your architecture set up, everything and running. And I'll be discussing further in other set of tutorials. Thank you for watching my video. Thank you.